What if an appliance emergency didn't have to be? If your appliances suddenly decided they were done, don't stress. Best Buy has you covered with a wide variety of major appliances from trusted brands, in stock and available now. So you don't have to worry about laundry piling up, refilling the fridge, or that big dinner party you're hosting. Because Best Buy has the knowledge and expertise to get you the right appliance for your home. Learn more at bestbuy.com. Best Buy. Imagine that.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Between two-factor authentication, strong passwords, and a VPN, you try to be in control of how your info is protected. But many other places also have it, and they might not be as careful. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats. If your identity is stolen, they'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast for 40% off. Terms apply.
And joining us this morning here on Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormick on 77 WABC is New York State Assemblyman Matt Slater, representing the 94th District up in the Westchester, Putnam County area. Matt, you're a friend to the show. Thanks for staying up.
Yeah, no problem, TJ. Glad I didn't take my my Ambien like President Biden or those tranquilizers like Secretary Clinton does, but glad to be with all you tonight.
A clear-eyed and very conscious Assemblyman Matt Slater joining us this evening. That's awesome, man. Thanks. Well, listen, speaking of the 94th District, it comprises a good portion of Congressman Mike Lawler's district. You two make a formidable team fighting for your constituents. That's an understatement. So earlier this week, Mike made an announcement, something everybody in the area was waiting to hear, and he decided to run for re-election for his seat. Yeah. What are your thoughts on Mike's decision and how that bodes for the future?
I mean, listen, I think it's bittersweet, right? Mm-hmm. I think that we are desperate for a transformative leader to finally get New York State back on track, and that's what Mike Lawler would have done as the governor of New York State. There's no doubt in my mind. I think he's one of the most dynamic leaders we have seen in a generation, and I'm just honored to call him a friend and honored to be able to work with him. Him being in Congress and myself in the state legislature. But at the same time, I'm also, very happy that he's going to continue to be in Congress and continue to fight like hell for us here to represent the Hudson Valley and make sure that we have a dose of common sense in the crazy swamps of Washington. And he continues to be a great leader, a really, I think, a shining star for the Republican Party. And listen, you never know what the future holds. And if anyone's going to be able to right the ship here in New York and continue to be a rock star and a superstar in Washington, that person's Mike Lawler. And so, bittersweet, but I think that from the Hudson Valley standpoint and all of New Yorkers, he's going to be able to provide a great check on Communist Mamdani, as he continues to strive to be the next mayor of New York City. And he's going to be able to continue to put into check all these radicals in Washington. And I think that's exactly what we need right now.
And recently he had to keep in check some Republicans, some contrarian Republicans who did not want to sign on for what he wanted to do with the salt cap, to try to keep money in homeowners' pockets. Mike Lawler found himself doing battle with fellow Republicans in the Senate.
Yeah, I mean, listen, when Mike goes to bat, he's not going to bat just for the Hudson Valley. He's going to bat for every suburban community in this state. Mm-hmm. And he did that in the latest Big Beautiful Bill when it came to salt, which is something that he has been on a mission on for 3 years now, to finally lift the salt cap, which is going to provide incredible tax relief for property owners all over New York State and in suburbs all across this state. Mm-hmm. And yeah, not only is he keeping radicals like AOC in check, but he's also keeping our own party in check and delivering and standing up to them and delivering for hardworking middle-class families in the suburbs of New York, all across New York. So that's exactly what he brings to the table every single day. That's why I still believe that he would have been just a transformative governor for the entire state because of all the incredible skills that he brings to the table and is an amazing vision, and also the fact that he's not willing to take on the big fights, whether it's on the left side of the aisle or the right side of the aisle. He fights for what's right, and I think he's an exemplary leader. And again, who knows what the future holds, but I think we can all rest easy knowing that we're still going to have the voice of Mike Lawler fighting for us every single day.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's Matt Slater joining us, Assemblyman Matt Slater here on another side of midnight with TJ McCormick on 77 WABC. It's 1-800-848-9222 is the number. And if Matt isn't staying up late to join us here on a Sunday morning, he's getting up early to go and represent the good fight on Fox and Friends and Fox and Friends Press. Matt's really been making the rounds recently. So again, I'm really grateful for your time today. So Matt, you mentioned Mamdani, Kami Mamdani. That's a great one. And he's actually currently still your colleague, isn't he? I mean, he's still an assemblyman.
He works with me in the New York State Legislature. We actually sat next to each other for the last 2 years in the Real Property Tax Committee, and so I've gotten to know him, fairly well, and I've seen him in action. And I've gotten to know his record or lack thereof in the legislature. And listen, for folks who are listening, we've defeated communism as a country once before, and it is now New York City's mission to defeat it again. And do not think for a second, do not doubt for a second, this man is a devout communist. Period. End of conversation. When you see what he stands for, when you see all of the sound bites that continue to rise from the ashes, from seizing the means of production to opposing private property ownership. These are all communist views. He actually has stood on the floor of the state legislature, and TJ, I know you've been there, so you know what this looks like. He has stood on the floor of the legislature addressing his colleagues, but he didn't call them his colleagues. He called them his comrades. God. That's how extreme this individual is. I've said it before when he was running. I said it when he won that crazy primary, and I'm saying it again. He is dangerously disqualified to be the mayor of the greatest city in the world. Yeah,
no doubt. And gang, Matt Slater is, everything that Matt said about Mike Lawler, one could say about Matt and many other things. Is one of the smartest people in one of the smartest people in Albany, one of the most competent, and that sounds like a basic word, but actually when it comes to when the people in the legislature with their hands on the levers and the buttons to make the votes, you don't just need brilliance and you don't just need a dazzling oratory. You need competence. You want good government, and that's what Assemblyman Slater represents and does every damn day they're in session up there and every day that he's home in the district. And
appreciate that.
No, that's the truth. And so at the same time, Matt being really, really smart, you're an incredible campaigner when it comes to politics. And everybody listen, there's government and there's politics. And there's the political campaign side of things. And I'm just going to ask Matt, Assemblyman, just real quick, when it comes to this guy, here at WABC, we've got Curtis Sliwa. He's the Republican nominee for the mayor in the city here. I was co-hosting Sit and Friends last week with Curtis, which was a huge honor to sit with him and John Katzimatidis for 4 hours a day. And I learned a lot from Curtis. I'd never spent that much time with him before. And anyway, I say all this preamble here to get to the point where I want to ask you to put on your campaign hat for a moment, your political hat for a moment. What is the best path? Because I agree with you, and most people listening agree with you. This is desperate times call for very competent and comprehensive measures to defeat a guy like this. What would be your approach to literally knocking the legs out from under this guy's campaign? Or is it possible? Is it like they say in the ESPN highlight? You can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him. How do we beat Mamdani campaign-wise? What's the best way to go?
I think it's a couple of things. I think the first thing that we have to do is continue to expose his extreme communist views, policies, platforms, desires, because New Yorkers know better. And I don't care if you're living in Brooklyn or you're up in the North Country. When you hear things like he has said that he wants to seize the means of production, that he opposes private property. I mean, the alarm bells are going off, and it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you are.
Sure.
You know it's just not right, and you know that a person who is devoutly committed to that type of cause has no business being the mayor of New York City. And so I think we have to just continue to expose that level of extremism. And here's another example for you, TJ. When he was in the legislature with me this year, he sponsored a bill that would limit the number of miles someone can drive their car. He wants that level of government control. He also sponsored legislation that would introduce sex education to kindergartners. Now, I've got young kids.
Yep.
That is absolutely nuts. Any parent would tell you that is absolutely crazy.
Tell me that again. So what was that bill? The second one? Tell me that again.
Yeah, I'll say it again.
Please.
Because the words come out of my mouth and you don't even, people can't even register.
You caught me off guard with that one. I wasn't ready for that.
He sponsored a bill that would introduce sex education to kindergartners, to 5-year-olds. I have a 5-year-old.
Yep.
She just graduated kindergarten this year. Not a chance
over your dead
in
body.
Hell
over
my dead body
right.
will that ever happen. And anyone, I think, with any sense of morality, any competent parent, loving parent, you know that is just nuts.
Yep.
Sex ed for 5-year-olds. That again, exposing the level of extremism by this individual, and he has the record that he proudly stands by. He met with the CEOs of New York City, of all the major businesses and corporations that drive our economy, and he told them, I'm not walking away from what I stand for. Yeah. So he's already said that this is the line in the sand. I'm not moving from it. So I think we have to continue to expose the level of extremism that he brings to the table. I also think we have to prove to the fact that this man has been an elected official for 5 years. He has that record, and that record is not one of results. Right. What has he accomplished? Don't forget, Democrats control every aspect of state government. Yep. And so the thing is really rigged in their favor. And so if he was going to accomplish anything of significance, it wouldn't be that hard when your own party controls everything.
Literally everything. Veto-proof. Yeah. Yeah.
Literally everything. But they know that this guy is so out there that he has been a complete failure as a legislator. In fact, he's only passed, he's been there for 5 years. Right. He's passed 4 bills. The most significant bill is to allow alcohol in a museum in Astoria. That's his most significant accomplishment.
Wow. Oh, my God.
And that's his record. So, again, go back to the record every time. He's an extremist who has done nothing to move the needle whatsoever on the issues that matter here in this great state, let alone in New York City, unless you want to go get, boxed in a museum in Astoria. Go ahead, find out, thanks to him. Yeah. In all honesty, it's all fake. It's all smoke and mirrors, just rhetoric, no results. And so I think it's important that gets brought to the forefront as well. And then I think it goes back to the issues that matter most to people in New York City. Really, the same issues that matter, I think, across the entire state. Number one, it's affordability. Right. I mean, that is still the number one issue facing. We're still leading this nation in out-migration as a state, and New York City's not being insulated from that. And not to mention, look, you look at some of these energy rates that are happening right now. Con Edison getting massive rate hikes right now by New York State. I mean, people are really struggling, and he has no solutions to those problems other than, I'm going to have the government run a grocery store because that's going to be the answer. I mean, it's nuts. Yeah, no, it's nuts. It is. And so I think you got to talk about affordability and expose the failed record, his failed record of affordability, and also public safety. Public safety still matters. Yeah, and I think especially in New York City. It especially matters because we continue to see crime. We continue to see horrific crimes. And, this is someone who says, well, when there's a domestic violence situation in someone's house, the cops shouldn't show up. We should send a social worker. Right. What?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And those are situations that escalate out of control well more often than not.
They would be horrific.
It would be. We're talking.
And that's again, that's his view. He's already been a proponent of defunding the police movement.
Yep.
Calling police racist and all this other ridiculous things, categorizing them as just evil people. But that's just that is not how you run a city.
No,
that is
you
not
can't.
how you run the NYPD. I mean, it's just that's why I'm saying he's dangerously unqualified. And so those four things again: exposing the extremism, going to his failed record, and then just focusing on affordability and public safety. I think, if I was, working with one of the other candidates, those are the four things that I would just be, pounding away on right now.
Talking to Matt Slater, Assemblyman Matt Slater from New York's 94th, and Matt, you mentioned the control that every statewide office is held by Democrats. Democrats control the fate of New York State. You're up there constantly fighting the good fight. And here on 77 WABC, we're always talking a lot about Hochul. Kathy Hochul, we started our conversation talking about how Mike Lawler is not going to be running against her, and yet when we say that somebody needs to come in with common sense, this is some of the non-common sense stuff. I wanted to just get your thoughts, as we recently were reminded that Kathy Hochul wants to send around these daft, silly, seemingly ineffective. What she would is it $500? I think she wants to throw back at people.
If you're lucky, $300, depending on your income. It's costing the state $2 billion. You heard me.
Yeah.
Built $2 billion with a B.
Yeah.
I'm not stuttering on that. And meanwhile, she's decrying the fact that she's losing $750 million in federal funding, right, which she could easily anyway. But it's a joke. Listen, the rebate checks are a joke. She calls it inflation relief. I mean, come on. Where was the inflation relief when Biden was in office?
Right.
When inflation was through the roof.
Right.
There was no inflation relief checks were coming to my door. I don't know about you.
Nope.
And then not for nothing, when you're talking about the amount of money that she's actually sending to people, look. Your electric bill. It won't even cover your electric bill.
No, it won't cover that bump. It won't.
It just won't. So what exactly are you doing other than some, gimmick to tell people, oh, look, I helped you out? I mean, look, it comes back to necessities. Your electricity costs are going through the roof. Your child care costs are through the roof. Do you really think, even if it's $500, is that really going to make the biggest difference in the world for you? No. Sure, for some people, yeah, I get it.
Sure.
It may, and that's fine. But, you can't sit here and continue to pass policies that continue to drive up the cost of living, that continue to make us the number one exporter of people in the entire United States of America because of the affordability crisis we're facing, and then just go throw nickels at everybody.
Yeah.
It's like loose change. Here you go. Bang. And look at me. I'm helping you. Come on.
Yeah. No, it is. It's insulting. It's insulting to our intelligence. And I think even for the people for whom it does make a difference, and that could be any of us. That could be any of us at any point in our lives. Nobody is safe from being a bit vulnerable now and then. I've been there too many times in my life. But even for those people, they're not stupid. Even if that $500 makes a difference for a month or a month and a half, they're not stupid. They know from whence it's coming, and they know that most of her policies are what put them in that position in the first place.
Correct.
So again, not only is it insulting in terms of the wallet, but it's insulting the intelligence of the people, even the people who need it. But that's Democrats. They just think everybody's stupid.
Let me put it to you this way, TJ.
Yeah.
She's spending $2 billion on quote unquote inflation relief. Meanwhile, she raised spending. She increased spending by $13.5 billion. I mean, listen, I'm not professing to be a math genius here, but those numbers don't add up.
No.
And anyone who knows the facts that she's putting $500 in your right pocket, but she's hitting you for another $13.5 billion out of your left.
Yep.
How do you think that's going to work out?
Exactly. And everybody gets that. Everybody does. We're talking to Matt Slater here on Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormick on 77 WABC, 1-800-848-9222 on this Sunday morning. And finally, just want to touch on this. This one popped up in the last 48 hours or so. So apparently Texas, a Republican-controlled state, thinking about maybe doing some stuff with congressional lines. And Kathy Hochul comes out and says, "Ooh, you know what? Me too." Now, the last time they tried to do this, it didn't quite work out. So, tell everybody what we're talking about here, and what your thoughts are about Kathy Hochul talking about redistricting here in New York.
Well, I mean, sure. So let's go back to the beginning. The redistricting process happens every 10 years in the state of New York, where they, based off the census, rejigger and redraw lines for congressional districts, state legislative districts. But in 2014, New Yorkers overwhelmingly approved a constitutional amendment, a referendum, to end partisan gerrymandering, and they put the redistricting process in the hands of an independent commission. Okay? That was done in 2014. So the commission puts forward their proposals, and Democrats who control every aspect of state government hated it, ignored it, and then drew their own maps that triggered years of litigation, lawsuits, and by the way, who's paying for that? We are as taxpayers, right? And so thankfully the courts did step in after numerous attempts by the Democrats to gerrymander the state. And then in 2022, which is the most recent redistricting process, the court struck down the legislative maps, saying that they were unconstitutional because they didn't follow the voter-approved independent commission process. I mean, we voted on this as a state population in 24. It's in the Constitution of the state of New York. Okay. And Democrats said, no, it didn't favor us enough. We're going to go a different route. They tried going a different route, but thankfully the courts struck them down, and they assigned a special master who really just created, fairness and integrity into the process and created competitive races. Right. That's all he did was create competitive races. He ended gerrymandering of the congressional districts, and now you have the governor of New York, who's completely blind by power, because again, Democrats are in charge of every aspect of government: the governor's office, AG's office, comptroller's office, the entire state legislature, everything, everything in New York. And so she's going, well, I can just undo it, and I might try. I mean, not only would it be just patently stupid, but it would be, I would argue illegal and unconstitutional, by the way, because of the 2014 referendum that voters overwhelmingly approved that they did not want gerrymandering to occur in this process. So, it just really, I think, shows the Democrats for what they are, especially Governor Hochul, for being, she comes across as New York's mom, but all she really is the wicked witch and the evil stepmother, and how power hungry she truly is to even consider to redraw congressional maps because it would be in favor of Democrats. Right. It's ridiculous. People are sick of this crap. It's the politics at its worst. And frankly, it's typical Albany, and Albany's always at its worst.
Matt Slater, Assemblyman for the 94th. Thank you so much. Again, your time is precious. You're a dad. You're a hard worker for your district. You're never not working, and I know that personally. Full disclosure, Matt and I are friends. We have worked together in the past, and I know how hard you work. So the fact that you're staying up late and joining us this morning means the world.
Listen, I had an email from a resident in Somers with the last name McCormick complaining about Route 138 at 11:15 tonight, and so I was responding to his email. So please thank him for making me aware of the road situation in his neighborhood.
Jesus Christ, was that my dad?
Of course it was.
Oh God! Here on 77 WABC. Oh my Lord, Matt Slater, thank you so much. Go to bed. I really appreciate your time.
Take care, TJ. You're the man. Talk to you soon.
Bye bye.